Can we get a pie rep on the guys on final? I'm getting one now. The last two downwinds was moderate to severe rime ice, heavy precip. We're thinking this stuff is going to be east of us in the next 20 minutes. I gotta put a ground stop in. We need 10 miles in trail on the dog's route. 10 miles in trail.
The NAS is a complex network of systems and aircraft. Things move quickly in the NAS. Real-time decision-making is dependent on your effective communication skills. The NTML is a single system for logging, automated coordination, and communication of information and initiatives. It enables all facilities, including the Air Traffic Control System Command Center, to share knowledge about conditions throughout the NAS.
So with the NTML entries, that gives you the ability to effectively communicate with the entire NAS through a simple message.
The data that's entered into the NTML is disseminated very widely, both to airlines, operations personnel, and to the command center.
Data entries via the NTML are being used to make on-the-spot decisions that affect safety and efficiency across the entire system. However, the NTML's usefulness as a decision-making tool is only as good as the data that goes into it. Timely, accurate, and complete data is essential for all stakeholders.
NTML entries are critically important for several reasons. One is it's the official log from FAA facility to FAA facility. They are scraped and used and go to the outside world through SWIM, System-Wide Information Management. They're used to electronically coordinate and approve, adjust, modify, cancel restrictions from one facility to another.
SWIM, or System-Wide Information Management, is the data sharing backbone of the NAS. NTML entries are immediately captured by SWIM and shared with stakeholders, enabling them to make better informed decisions. The networked system provides real-time, accurate flight surveillance, weather, and aeronautical information. Users include the FAA, airlines, research institutions, and other stakeholders.
Most TMCs and people that use the system don't realize that a lot of people are eyes on what's going on. And one of those people now are the customers.
NTML data has influence over a wide set of decisions. First and foremost would be reroutes, whether in a swap event, trying to adjust to a terminal fix restriction or closure, mile and trail or reroute restrictions on the en route environments. The NTML does have influence over our cancellation logic.
It's a huge asset. It's what the FAA is seeing, and for us to see the exact same thing FAA controllers or the command center is seeing is a tremendous benefit for us, just for the pre-planning and also the tactical portion of the operation.
NTML entries are very important because they're our first line of communication with all the facilities in the NAS. If the tower sends in an NTML entry and tells us what's going on, it just helps us do our job better to help them.
As far as timely entries of the data, that's really important for our tactical operation. The quicker that information could get into the log, the quicker that our tools that are receiving the data will be able to display that on the dispatchers and ATC coordinators' screens so that they can make real-time decisions about how to manage the operation.
The end goal is to use the NTML as a working tool to inform people quickly and readily what the impacts are and if there's trouble in the system or how you're improving.
And we're mining the SWIM feeds and finding operational uses for it. It actually, we consider it to be like one of the really most important parts that we can help control, and having that NTML information is a great step forward on that.
It's very important for other facilities throughout the NAS to put departure delays in as timely as possible. That way we can, at the command center, can help you as soon as possible. That way industry will know as soon as possible and they can make decisions that help the entire NAS.
Which the airlines use to make operational decisions on a minute-by-minute basis. As you put entries into the NTML, those entries are fed immediately out into these other sources, and anybody who has access to that information can be using it to make timely decisions that impact their and when certain data points are entered in the way that they are anticipated by the people looking for that data, it makes it very easy for them to reach into the data and find what they're looking for and not have anything lost. The sooner you make those entries, the sooner your first tier facilities and the command center can be aware of the situation you're dealing with, and they may be able to provide support. Not only the FAA facilities, but also the operational personnel at the airlines. You're not just logging that for someone to look at tomorrow. When you make those entries, they're immediately going outside of your facility. They're being shared at times with your neighboring facilities, with the command center, and also with operations centers within the airlines. And there are often times that those other facilities and those other entities are using that information to support you. So that's one way to think about it, how important it is to get those entries in as quickly as you can.
So it's very valuable that when you can, you need to update that. Make a call, use a hotline, follow up on the NTML so that other people can get to that information and help the whole situation. You have a seamless entry of data being pushed through a means from where you started that information directly to the controller, and it's that easy. The goal is to get information to flow that quickly and easily, and it all starts with you, dear. And those pieces of information are very valuable because the end goal is to use the NTML as a working tool to inform people quickly and readily what the impacts are and if there's trouble in the system or how you're improving.
Well, for us here at the command center, basically the NTML entry is important, and it makes sense for timely entries, because that's what we do all day long is we research the NTML entries to find out what kind of situations that facilities are in. We'll look at the entrail pushback from one center to the other to find out there's an actual problem at a terminal. So I'd say to a TMC in the field that your NTML entries are very important to the whole system. Not only do we look at them at command center, industry looks at them, and it is the real-time way that we know what your facility is doing. So just be as upfront, clear, and concise with your entries. Do it as timely as possible, and that way we know how to help you. It's very important for other facilities throughout the NAS to put departure delays in as timely as possible. That way we can, at the command center, can help you as soon as possible. That way industry will know as soon as possible, and they can make decisions that help the entire NAS.
I think I would say to a TMC that it's extremely important to make those NTML entries because it is their first line of communication. And as soon as they let us know that there's an issue, we can start working on a solution with them, for them. And it's going to help the customers, keep them in the loop as to what's going on, why they're in the hold, or what the delay is, why they can't depart the airport. If there's one thing I could say to the traffic managers out in the NAS, it's just that I know that the NTML doesn't seem like the most important thing, especially in the heat of battle, but it is the first line of communication that keeps all the facilities together, working to solve the problem. And as soon as you have that brief moment to take care of it, it always helps out everybody do the job. All right, so I guess if there was one thing I could say to a TM out in the NAS is just that I know the NTML doesn't seem super important and it's probably your lowest priority in the heat of battle, but it does keep everybody communicating together, and as soon as you get a moment to make that NTML entry, whether it's a runway change or a mile in trail or something that's going to help everyone do their job, take that moment and just make that NTML entry so that we can all stay on the same page and help each other out.
If the holding is going to be lengthy. So there have been many times when a timely arrival delay entry allows the command center to jump into action and prevent a situation from becoming worse. And many times we have avoided diversions which are a large expense to airlines, and the controllers have to work those planes twice to get them recovered.
So is there a timeline?
So timely would be as soon as the TMC knows. Many different of the FAA systems have a data feed into SWIM. SWIM then turns that into just simply a river of data. And then the airlines listen to that data and pull out the types of messages that they're interested in. Some of the formatting that is inherent in NTML tends to get lost. So making sure that we use the proper template is critical, so that as the airlines are listening to that SWIM stream, they can pick out the right pieces of data that's relevant for them.
As far as what we're using the NTML entries for, it's really that information is used by our dispatchers and ATC coordinators. It's used from a strategic environment for pre-planning, depending on what constraints we see, and then it also can be used in the tactical environment. And that's why it's important for that data to be updated. Depending on what we're seeing in the entry, if it's mile and trail, if it's the departure fixed closure, even before the aircraft departs off the gate, we can pre-plan another route, or at the very least we can expect a delay, and then we can make tactical decisions as the aircraft pushes off the gate and is heading toward the runway. And also kind of the same thing in route. If there's a constraint identified that we see off the NTML entry, we can make a decision while the aircraft is airborne to reroute that airplane around the constraint that's identified.
Know that it's not always, up to date. So, sometimes we'll have to even, verify that the information is that restriction. But take the workload off of the TMU unit in the centers, and let our ATC coordinators and our tower people, make those changes necessary in real time based on that trigger from the NTML telling us what a restriction is, what a closure is, what a minute or mile trail is, all of those things that we would use. That would be the triggering event.
Yeah, so NTML data is very specific because in many ways it's one of the only sources that we have about restrictions and other traffic flow initiatives that are occurring. We take that data and we try to rebuild a picture of what happened on any given day. So in real time, if we want to know about fixed closures and route restrictions, the quicker that information, obviously accuracy is paramount, but the quicker that information could get into the log, the quicker that our tools that are receiving the data will be able to display that on the dispatchers and ATC coordinators' screens, so that they can make real-time decisions about how to manage the operation to minimize impact to our customers. So that aspect to be able to manage departures and ensure that they are efficiently flying into the overhead streams and then managed across the NAS. That's where this data real time is critical, not only in terms of timeliness but also accuracy. So in addition to the tactical use of the data, we're also doing a lot of post-op analysis, analyzing the data to understand not only what happened, but why it happened.
The timely, accurate, and complete NTML data is very important to our airline. We have limited visibility to restrictions within the terminal, en route, and tower environment. And the NTML data is our exclusive access to see what those restrictions are and how we might act accordingly to conform to different capacity constraints within the NAS. When we have to call a facility and ask a traffic manager some of these restrictions, things that are known within their facility, we're distracting them from their job and sometimes being a burden to them. The NTML allows us to receive this information, to take it in non-verbally and take action upon it while avoiding disruption to the facility managers. The visibility to the airlines for the NTML is a giant wall of text. It doesn't sort through any facility. We're looking at the whole thing. And that can prove to be difficult when searching for certain trouble areas, when there's a lot of information in the NAS that needs to be communicated. Automation has helped us gain efficiency in that area, particularly with the upcoming use of dashboards that scrape the NTML log and allow for filtering and categorization of information by facility or by restriction. So that's created an importance on having a uniform entry method and uniform application for who enters information into the NTML and how they do so.